This is really just kind of a labor of love. You know, I have several other bookstores and they cater to general audiences, and this one I just really wanted it to be things that I was in love with and that I liked, either aesthetically or you know, literally or philosophically. You know, I just kind of wanted a store where I could handpick everything that I carried. That could range from you know, science fiction to horror, true crime, crime fiction, classics, philosophy, religion, a lot of surfing and skating books, even some architecture, a little bit of fashion. But everything is kind of on the edgier side, or kind of on the outsider or geeky side, or you know, things like that. For years I've had these other stores that are very general, and sometimes I get tired of trying to please all the people all the time. And so I thought, well, I want a store. The concept is just a store that's just going to please me, that is going to be kind of like my home away from home, that I could just make a place that has everything I think is cool in one place. Everything that I tend to like is either deep and, you know, philosophical in some way, or it's weird, or it's dark, you know, it involves action or murder or death or something like that, or it's hard, like I like heavy metal and punk rock and things like that. So we also have a big vinyl section that's all rock and metal and punk and things like that. I've been really surprised at our customers, because I didn't know if anybody else would like all this stuff that I like, especially in Oahu. You know, I thought people would, because I'm from here and I know, you know, people growing up that were into this kinds of stuff too, but I didn't know to what extent it was going to be true. So I've been pleasantly surprised that so many people that have come in have been like, how did you know that to put all this stuff that I love here in one place? You know, lots of people have said they felt seen. You know, they felt like, you know, a kinship with what we have going on here. You know, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but I love judging books by their covers. I love book covers, you know, probably more than almost anything as far as aesthetical, you know, as far as something that's aesthetic or artistic. I just love design, I love art, I love illustration, typography. So I love all that. And then of course I love stories. I love stories that have action in them. I love stories that are philosophical. I love the fact that every time I read a book, it changes me, and I am a slightly different person than before I read that book. That's really powerful, you know, to know that when you pick a book up and you finish it, that you're going to be changed afterwards. You know, that's the crazy thing. It's just so powerful.
25 years ago. It's been kind of amazing, but it seemed like a natural spot for a bookstore. Kailua is such a great community, just a brilliantly wonderful, supportive community. It was a bookstore before, a pretty successful bookstore that I had worked for, actually. And when that bookstore closed, I decided that this would be a great location. It's close to my home, and you know, the commute is not bad. And the demographics, like I say, were really good. So I said, let's move in and kind of redo the concept a little bit, and so here we are. When you work in a place every day, you can kind of see what's going on and what people are asking for that you don't have. And so if you stay close to it, you can kind of temper your selection to what people want. And you know, it's been really kind of fun. There's a lot more demand for quality literature, you know. It astounds me. And from all across the board, you know, it's young people and old people, and it's like people are just desperate for stuff to do with their time, I think, and reading was certainly one of them. You can't be on screen all day. People come in and say, oh, I have it on my tablet, but I want to buy the book. I mean, the sense of rewarding the author too. So, you know, there's a lot of elements involved in actual physically owning a book. It's good that people are reading, you know, it gives them something to talk about, and it's you know, the interaction, the human interaction is a really great thing. It's kind of an interesting, you know, across the board mix. We get people from the North Shore that kind of make a day of it, to kind of field trip to Kailua kind of thing. So yeah, we find that we're attracting people from all over the place, which is good. Just the sheer escapism of it all. It's like you can be anywhere in the world you want to be, just picking up a book, a well-written book. And you can, be solving mysteries. You can be in Florence. You can be anywhere in the world you want to be. All you can call it is escapism. So yes, the escape of it, the ability to be somewhere else. Sitting in your chair and, you're somewhere else. It's great.
I applied and was hired at UH Press, University of Hawaii Press, in the marketing department. However, my role was kind of cobbled together. I was kind of cross books and journals. What's interesting is like Holland Bookshops and UH Press, they both started in 1947. Now 1947 is because it's like post-World War II. I remember kind of doing this history of Holland Bookshops, and it started actually in this little book department of a kind of department store in Waikiki. Sailors would come in and, for the books. So 1947 actually is kind of a key year when you talked about growth. I guess there was growth in Hawaii, Honolulu. When the digital really expanded, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, like doom and gloom. There's not going to be print books, and then that will affect the whole chain. You'll go to the Friends of the Library sale, and there's no books after a certain point, but that hasn't happened. I mean, so there's just a different format. There's this continuing resurgence of interest in, Native Hawaiian language and culture. I mean, so that's why you have a number of shops that, that's what they sell. One thing about books is that they're a consumable that's not perishable, and that greeting cards saying, books are gifts you can open again and again. I mean, because it's true. I mean, you could have many readers of the same book and it's still going to be there. They're reusable.
We are the nonprofit of the Hawaii State Public Library System. There are 51 branches across the state, and we support all 51 with programming, scholarships. We give continuing education for librarians, anything that's not in the state budget. And so the state pays for the facility, the people, and most of the books. So anything outside of that, we help to provide for the library system. It's all part of our nonprofit purpose. So we're raising money, and those funds go back to provide that programming and extras at the public libraries. So the bookstore is a fundraiser for us, and all of the book sales are fundraisers. That's the main way that, for us, Friends of the Library of Hawaii, we raise money for the public libraries. We opened the bookstore during the pandemic. We were across the street at Ward Village in the big Pier 1 space, and then we transitioned to this smaller space here at Ward Center, but we set this up like a real bookstore. We went vertical with the shelving, and we always wondered whether if we opened a bookstore, would our book sales suffer, would we have fewer people come? And over the last year, we brought back our annual sale and our music sale. And if anything, we've seen sales grow. The book sales continue to be very popular, matching the performance from pre-pandemic. And now with the added bookstore, we're selling books throughout the year, and overall just selling more books. We also have an online bookstore, and so that continues to have, we get orders every week, and we're just happy that more people are reading. We're definitely selling more books, so creating more readers here in Hawaii. I think that there's just overall a renewed interest in sort of those older technologies, or if you can call it technology, but older media. So there's a resurgence in hard copy books, in vinyl, even cassette tapes. So you'll see we have cassette tapes, and people are coming in and asking for them. We sell VHS, POGs. There's just a resurgence in all of those sort of nostalgia items. And books, I wouldn't really put them as a nostalgia item, but it's great to see people looking for hard copies. I mostly read fiction. Recently, I've started to try to read more nonfiction, but it's about continuing education. When you're reading fiction, it's about learning about something new or getting into a new sort of world and taking you away from your current situation. You're able to just sort of relax. They say that reading is good for your health. Read 20 minutes a day, so that's what we try to promote.
The shop was really born as creating an opportunity to be a gathering place for people to sort of come together to share knowledge, to share the likeness of book readings and exploration and imagination, and an opportunity for us to do something that could appeal to people of all ages. And so the shop really was meant to be celebratory of what we do as book publishers in our industry of book publishing, but also creating a resource for a community to be able to come to and sort of share in that same appreciation for voices and for stories, and having a place and a resource on island, not digitally, but physically, that they could go and interact with those types of products, in this case, books. Kaimuki, because we were already there, was a natural fit. Our focus on servicing local peoples was a natural fit, and just the other components of what was happening in terms of a retail and brick and mortar experience in Kaimuki just all sort of combined together to be the yes factor, and is this where we should endeavor to open up this bookshop. The interesting thing is that independent bookstores, they have this attractability of really drawing in their own audience, right? There's sort of the true believer set where you have your real bibliophiles that love seeking out bookshops and go through a lot of reading, and you have that same application in terms of like a whole family capacity, right? Where like mom, dad, and Keiki are all into books, or you have an auntie or an uncle or a tutu coming in and buying, books for the whole family, which is awesome, which is great. What we've seen is that people who do come in have a particular genre that they're drawn to. So it's not, someone doesn't come in and it's just like, I'll take one of those, one of those, one of those, one of those. It's not so much like that. It's more someone's coming in and is focusing specifically on a certain type of book or a certain genre of stories. Nationally, we're seeing a rise in independent bookstores. I think that in the way that those types of trends and realities trickle down to Hawaii, it happens a little bit more slowly, but we're definitely seeing an increase as far as the industry goes. And in Hawaii locally, we definitely have seen a couple more bookstores pop up that didn't exist 5 years ago. As a business owner or as an entrepreneur, you really have to have a dedicated passion if you want to go into books, because books is not, it's not like you're selling tablets and phones and anything like that. So for us, it's really that it's a love of what it is that the product is that we have, and it's also an appreciation for the customers that we get to interact with. And that human-to-human interaction over a product is really what comes together to provide some element of success.
What makes it unique is that it's a community resource, and the people that are in here represent exactly what we're interested in, making sure that we are a place where knowledge is exchanged in all of its forms, and a book is a really powerful one. So I'm happy that Native Books has been around a very long time, and that we continue to supply a wide range of content related to people of Hawaii and Hawaiians in particular. And we have the largest collection of books that are focused on material that's based out of Hawaii. So that gives us a wide range of topics and authors and age groups and things in Hawaiian and things in English and things in languages from across the Pacific. So yeah, and games, which we were just talking about, just knowledge exchange. So that's what we're doing here. We're such a robust publishing community right now, books about Hawaii and books into the Hawaiian diaspora as well as Hawaiian community. So there is the ability for people to find their way home to content that is very inspiring and they can relate to, that makes sense. I used to read about squirrels in the snow when I was a kid. I was like, really? I don't really know those things, but being able to read about limu and all the varieties of it and cloud formations and to hear Hawaiian language, which was not available to me as a child, and to see how commonplace in the best sense of the word, how much ease is in the language being heard and spoken. There's a natural sense of wanting us all to kind of just learn something together about each other. So it's a very easy place to really expand your knowledge in places like Native Books and other independent bookstores. We're all personalities, extension of a personality. Customers who are interested in very specific things, customers who want to tell you about their experience with Hawaii, they're confused by things. People who are absolutely rabid readers and they come and sit, they can sit here all day long. So there's seats for them to sit and look. Teachers, artists, old people, young people, there's a pretty wide range of people who come. Being able to read and come up with your own ideas and interpretations. The hope is that people continue to read. Yeah, that's the most important thing. When I think of books, I think of friends. And so what I love is the ability to kind of go into a whole different mindset very quickly. So I guess that's escapism. Why not?